And welcome back. So, Leanne, very interesting conversation there with the MEC for Health in Gauteng, talking about a peak in coronavirus infections in September.
Yeah.
But also very interesting, the story of beds that are available and the strife that would be seen there.
It's actually just, as we've constantly been warned that this wave is still coming, it's still coming, it's still coming. I mean, the figures are rather low and controlled at the moment. If you break it down, we know that the Western Cape at this point seem to be struggling with it. And like I mentioned, I saw a report popping through onto my feed talking that ICU beds for COVID-19 patients are already full in Cape Town's largest hospitals. And this is worrying. And, nothing makes South Africa immune to what we saw the rest of the world going through. So it was good to hear from the MEC, something that we've been doing with most of the provinces. We've still got a few to go through, and seeing how they are handling COVID-19 and the plans that are in place for that peak. August, September. A long way. It's a scary few months we're going to be going through.
Absolutely. And I think, Leanne, the message here is for us to understand that even if we do move down to, level 3 of lockdown restrictions, it doesn't mean that the virus itself has, somehow found a way to lighten up. It's probably more dangerous right now with more infections and, just our vulnerability as more of us, go out as the economy opens up and schools and everything kind of starts to trickle back to normal. So we need to be more careful, and it's never going to be the same again. We need to wear the protective gear, the masks. We need to sanitize. And if anything, we need to intensify that from here on in.
I mean, this is the difficult time for us. It's been easy staying at home and protecting ourselves. It's been easy to not contract coronavirus. However, as we start seeing things open, as you rightly put it, this is where the issue comes in. This is where there are going to be more infections. People are going to be going out more. And I mean, we've been hiding away for so long. I don't think our bodies know how to fight antibodies anymore. And this is real. This is a real thing. So by exposing ourselves, we're going to pick up things. And this is where we really got to take care. So anyway, but our next guest apparently is ready now. And I know this is one that I think a lot of people are wanting to hear from. And it's further about schooling and this idea that schools are going to open on the 1st of June with grade 7 and grade 12s going. So for teacher unions to student organizations, that announcement of schools reopening has been met with very mixed reaction. The Democratic Alliance has welcomed the decision by the South African Democratic Teachers Union that they have raised health and safety concerns, especially the lack of water at many rural schools is a huge issue. Teachers are expected to return to school next week, that's the 25th of May, with teaching and learning for grade 7 and 12 starting on the 1st of June. To discuss this further, we're joined by Matakanye Matakanye, who is the General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies. It's good to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Leanne.
Firstly, how has it been for many parents at this time in terms of access to e-learning, school material, and also helping their children with schoolwork?
Yeah, thank you very much, Elaine, and all your listeners. That's one of the biggest problems that we are encountering, particularly the poorest, the rural, the deep rural, and the working class schools. They don't have access to e-learning, and that's what we have been discussing with the minister to say, how do we really best support schools that cannot do during this time. So I think we are just expecting when the minister was making an announcement, she would have touched also on that question of how they have the poorest of the poor, the township schools, the working class, the rural, the deep rural, that cannot access that. And in some instances, they don't even have electricity to connect. Question of connectivity, they don't have that. And at one stage, he proposed that what about the radios? Because radios, then they can buy batteries if they don't have the electricity, so that really and truly they are also online with other children.
One of the big issues, and that you've brought up, is that there's been a huge lag in this academic year for 2020, and I think you've spoken very well to the fact that this is because the majority do not have access to e-learning and all of these things that many others do have access to. But let's get the feeling from what governing bodies are thinking after the announcement of the reopening of schools from grade 7 and 12s. How are governing bodies feeling at this point?
We are seriously concerned about the question of safety, in the sense that now we met the minister, if you remember, on the 26th of April and tabled all those non-negotiables to her. And then on the 11th, when we met the minister once again, then we were told that now there's only 2 provinces that are ready out of 9 provinces. That was Gauteng and Western Cape. And then we knew that they're not ready because they have not yet met the non-negotiables. Non-negotiables were referring to the question of social distancing, the question of the PPEs, the question of running water, the question of transport, and all those related matters. Then we were really surprised when the minister made announcement that now the system are ready, then we are going to open on the 1st of June, without really telling us the 7 provinces, how far have they gone in terms of preparations? Because we wanted to hear how far have they gone, what still are the problems, so that as school governing bodies, then we'll be also to come in and help. But we were not told about that. It was just that now we are reopening on the. So we are really concerned about the safety of our children, the safety of our teachers as well. I mean, you would have heard that there are a lot of teachers who have got underlying conditions, and we also wanted to know what is the statistics and what the plan. What plan, if then in this school there are 2 teachers who have got comorbidities, and how have you replaced those teachers? Because when the children go back to school, they must find the teachers in front of them. If they are not teachers, and we have been told when children go to school, then we don't have teachers, cannot come to the underlying conditions and all that. Those were all supposed to have been a plan and be told that now, in this case, then these are the teachers, in this case, these are the classes, in this case, these are PPEs, and all this. And also, we raised the question of the supervision, saying, yes, of course, the teachers in class will be able to supervise the social distance. It happens outside when the children play, when the children go to the toilet, when the children are seeing the friends and all. So we feel then you have to bring an army of parents probably in school, so that they support the school by tutoring and advising in terms of the social distancing, the wearing of the mask and all. But when she addressed the public, we did not hear that out of the minister's presentation. So these are some of the things that are worrying us. But as of now, when we are making a survey to all the parents through our structures throughout the country to ensure that now we have a response that's scientific by next week.
Well, we would hope so. There's 11 days to go until schools reopen and, we see grade 7 and 12s going back. There are some schools that are complaining that they have not received anything that's been promised to them and that when they do inquire, they say that it's still en route, that they're still coming. We're talking about sanitizers, gloves, masks, the water facilities. One would think that if you're going to make an announcement that schools are opening, that at least all of these plans are in place already. But, to say that, it's still coming, this surely is not good enough. And surely this is a very, very big worry. And I ask you very, very quickly about this because we need to wrap this as your final question. But, what would you like to see done? If you're not happy with the way things are, what would you like to be done for education in South Africa? Obviously, opening schools now is something that's very difficult. But what would you like to see happen?
No. We have already discussed with the minister that look, if really you don't have the running water in schools, you don't have classes to accommodate extra classes. Whilst you are dealing with that, you are planning to do that. Lest all the children in South Africa benefit. You know that the rich schools, since the 18 we closed of March, up to date, they are learning through the online. But the children who are poor, they have not. Now, that's a big worry. Then we are just saying, whilst we are discussing this matter, while we are ensuring that safety first, please let all the children benefit. Let's have a plan. How do we make them benefit? Because we are not sure. Because children, we are not sure whether children will go to school when there is no safety in schools, when there is no running water, when there is not enough classes, when we have not yet have regulations to say how do we regulate parents when they put these children into the transport, the private transport. What is parents expected to do? So they're supposed to be having that directives from the department to say this is what we want to do. The taxi, when it comes and collect your children, sanitize the taxi, do this, what, and all those. We know that. How do we do this? But we don't know that. So you feel that I believe that whilst we are discussing all those things, let our children benefit, especially as I have already indicated, the section of our children in the country. Let them also benefit out of the benefit that is received by other children, but their peer. So that's what we wish to see. Whilst we are going on, whether we are to open in schools, we are not opening schools, what, but let all the children in the country benefit. That's our request.
Matakanye Matakanye, thanks so much for joining us. That's the General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies talking to us about parents' views on the reopening of schools on the 1st of June. From that, we move on to